So here in the US, we are educating more students, a more diverse range of students, and educating them to a higher degree than ever before. In the past century, we built a system of veritable factories to crank out one student after another in the image of what we think an educated person should be. But compared to other developed nations, our students' achievement is relatively low, at least on skills that are simplest to measure. Of course, not all students are struggling. The dropout rate for low-income kids is 3 times that of middle-income and 4 times that of high-income students. And achievement patterns tell a similar story. And of course, many people believe that we know how to fix this problem. Some charter schools have used excellent teaching, rigorous standards, a laser focus on achievement, and long hours to do some pretty amazing things. But how do you scale up and sustain something that relies on just the exceptional teachers? I mean, like lawyers and doctors, most teachers are average. So how are you going to achieve those results in every school? Also, the charter school application process tends to bypass families who are not actively seeking the best education for their kids. In other words, those who are most at risk of getting a poor education. And as I talked about in the last series of films on creativity and innovation and insight, those super measurable student skills are not what's going to get us to an innovation economy anyway. Do we teach creativity and an innovation mindset in school at all? Do we measure it?
I think that there are pockets and places where we do that, but I don't think we do it as the standard. In fact, the word standard now seems to be all too much in vogue, and what we talk about are minimal standards that every student will achieve, and I don't think that that's the way to think about how we educate. We have created an environment in many, many venues in this country where if you take a risk and you're wrong, that's a mistake. So education is no longer just about facts and figures and what can be put in a textbook, but education has to be about how do you prepare persons for uncertainty. When I think about how do you teach for innovation, how do you teach for creativity, and what bar do you set, I think it's that you set many bars and they're very different. If it's not okay to make a mistake and be wrong, if it's not okay to have a hunch and test it out publicly, we're in trouble. How do you do that intellectually? How do you create classrooms where people want to explore, where people are willing to take an intellectual risk? You don't do it by providing harsh standards, seats in rows that can't be moved, classrooms that look sterile and have only institutional color. That's not an invitation to thinking, to creating, to innovating, to dreaming. And I mean, I'll use those words in an educational setting.
So I'm just saying that if we're not doing an acceptable job of teaching the most measurable skills, the ones we needed for the last century, and we're not teaching toward an innovation culture either, what are we going to do? Are we just going to accept this? I say that we start to look at the whole problem differently. Start to realize that education is about a lot more than just schools. Schools are just a reflection of the culture that they're in. So let's take a look at that culture. Us. The people that kids meet when they get home from school.